Good morning, Dual Coast fans. Hold on, let me clap. Good morning, Dual Coast fans. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Dual Coast Podcast. If I don't clap, Russ gets upset on the West Coast.
I do. I get angry.
So I got to do the clap to bring him, a little bit of joy this morning.
It starts my 5:30 a.m. wake-up call here on Dual Coast.
Exactly. Very special episode coming up this morning. Mr. Tyler Gravatt is backstage right now. We're going to have a good time with Tyler in a few minutes, but real quick, something to introduce for you, everybody listening right now. We want to bring attention to the Dual Coast store that we have online right now. Russ is wearing his hat. Dual Coast merchandise available at dualcoastpodcaststore.printify.me. It's a tongue twister, but I'm going to put it in the comments in a few minutes so that way everybody can get a little feel for that. Dual Coast store has a bunch of new products out there, guys. It has sweatshirts,
great merch,
shirts, great merchandise, water bottles. What else we got on there, Russ?
Tee, hat,
T-shirts,
sweatshirt. Yeah. I mean, it's not a long laundry list of items.
Correct.
But quality.
Short, concise list of items, but quality items.
Yeah. Support us as we're getting our name out there over the last year and a half. We're almost coming up to 1.5 years.
I was actually, it's funny you say that because I was talking to Tyler before off air real quick, and I was saying to him, I was thinking about it to myself. I'm like, wow, how long have we been doing this podcast? And it's, we're pushing
next week, right? Today's the 23rd. Yeah. Next Tuesday. Woo.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of next Tuesday, we'll end the month with Camille Ellis, a grief counselor. Going to be an amazing time. It's going to be at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But in 2 weeks, time change.
Correct. We are going to move Dual Coast Podcast morning show 1/2 an hour in the future. So therefore, we're going to start at 6 a.m. on the West Coast, 9 a.m. on the East Coast, starting in 2 weeks, everybody. So we're going from 8:30 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 6 a.m. in hopes that more people will listen. No.
And I'll be more alert.
And be more alert. We just made the assumption that more people will be in the middle of their commute at 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Everybody just kind of getting into work, wants to turn on to Dual Coast a little bit early. I think it's more of a beneficial move for us, and I think it's beneficial for our listeners. So we're going to make a little bit of a move early in the morning. Not much of a shift, but a little bit of a shift.
30 minutes. That's it.
30-minute shift. Yep.
Still subscribe, still look, still view, still watch us live on Instagram. Check us out on all of our different handles. But, most importantly is we are still here.
Yes, we are still here. We're still kicking. Let's go, baby.
We're trying to do our best to make a difference in this world. And, through guests like Tyler, who's going to be on in just a moment. Looking forward to talking with Tyler. So let's do it. Without further ado, welcome to
the stage, Mr. Tyler Gravatt. Tyler.
There he is.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
Here, lean up a little bit. Let's see that logo on that chest right there.
There we go.
There it is. Nice.
Nice.
Are you in the shop right now?
I am not. Actually, the shop I felt was going to be too noisy. All the guys working on all the cars and everything. So I wanted to have a nice quiet space, dedicate some time to you guys this morning.
Gotcha.
Very cool. Well, I know off air you guys were connecting on the nonprofit. Dan, you forgot to mention about your nonprofit, and then we're going to kind of tie that together with Tyler.
I did forget to. Yeah, that's correct. So I'll kick that up real quick. So with Slice of Charity, we are doing a Feed Our Heroes Auto Festival. Kind of ties into Tyler also, automotive right now. But that's going to be on Friday, July 24th at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be on Long Island, it's the hall at Veterans Affairs in Massapequa, New York. It's going to be great, guys. We have a bunch of exotic cars coming. Porsche Group is coming, who's big on Long Island. We're going to do a full event, food, drinks, everybody. We are selling tickets online at sliceofcharity.org. It's going to be a great time. July 24th, Friday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Awesome.
Yes.
And that ties right into Tyler.
It does.
Because of the car business.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tyler. I want to hear all about the car business, man, what you're doing and how this all came about.
Yeah. So I basically started my business by accident. So I'm an entrepreneur and also an entrepreneur. But we do detailing, metal polishing, and rust prevention, vehicle undercoating. So I have a small shop here in Cream Ridge. We have six guys that work in the shop full time.
6 is not small.
Yeah.
It's small in scale. I still think that I have that small part-time kid hustling for money in college. That's really how I started the business. Doing friends, family, just I grew up in the automotive culture, and it was off to the races. To date, I haven't done any paid marketing. It's all been pretty much word of mouth connection, which has been a blessing, standing on the quality work. But that has grown to me becoming the owner and not so much the operator over the years, and has allowed me to get into different things. Like Dan, you kind of mentioned the nonprofit space, some car cruises, different culture events that we do in the community around the automotive envelope.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Tyler, tell us, you said it by accident. So let's go back, pre-car, and then lead right into that, accidental run in with vehicles. Did you already have a love and a passion for cars prior to this?
I did. So I actually grew up here in central New Jersey on a family farm. Farm's been in our family since 1913. Now we primarily do grain farming, but I've always mechanically inclined, tinkering things, working on things. Thankful to my parents and grandparents. We're in kind of the hot rod culture, classic cars, muscle cars. So I was always in the garage with my dad, my grandfather, whether it was a tractor or cars, whatever it may be, working with my hands and getting out there. So that's where that kind of initial love of mechanics and car culture came to be. Transitioned through college, University of Delaware, mechanical engineering. I worked in a Porsche shop, and then I basically wanted to do something on my own. I always had this kind of entrepreneur mindset, whether it's trying to do something better on the farm or just growing into this detailing business. So again, it was friends, family, things of that nature. And then it just kind of grew and grew and grew to the point where I needed to hire my first employee. I couldn't do it all myself. And I briefly mentioned I'm also an entrepreneur. So I'm also an engineer for the Navy. The whole time I've been building this business and working on the automotive side. So my time was really maxed out to the point where I could only do so many vehicles essentially by myself. Hired my first employee, turned into a second employee, turned into a commercial shop. So it's been off to the races since.
No pun intended.
Ooh, that's awesome.
No pun intended.
What's your favorite car?
My favorite car, I'm really into it. I'm a truck guy.
Okay.
Probably from the farm influence. Yeah. So I have an 86 Chevy pickup. It's actually pink, that my daughter wanted to paint pink. So it's like a big monster truck, big pink monster truck, but it's so much fun to drive. And it's just a lot of fun.
That's cool. That's cool.
Wow. I'm assuming it's all lifted and, looking very monstery and ready to run over some, like Porsche cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, you could say that. Very, very big shiny wheels, big tires. The tires are almost as tall as my daughter. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Hopefully not crushing Porsches. Hopefully crushing maybe a little something cheaper than that.
Yeah, yeah. Porsche is my love for vehicles, is my all-time love. Yeah. That's a good one. What about you, Skoga?
Yeah, I side with Porsche also, honestly. I very much so. Like a 992 turbo. I love that.
Yeah. If I were to jump and dabble in the car world, I'd actually probably say Porsche as well. After that experience that I had in college, working in that Porsche shop, working on a lot of the older, the 70s, the 80s Porsches, it's the engineering side of that is bar none.
Mm. Yeah, I believe that. A lot of people say, like, even people who have multiple sports cars like Aston Martin, Lamborghini, or that they say Porsche actually handles mechanically the best. I don't know if that's true or not because I've never driven any of those. But that's what I've heard.
There's always Turo. You can rent somebody's car,
Yeah, that's fair point. Fair point. Tyler, you've built a personal brand around your name. Why do you think personal branding is so important in the business world?
I think it's super important, and I'm still developing my personal brand, to be honest. I think the last 6 months I've put a lot more effort into my personal brand than anything else, and becoming the operator, or excuse me, owner rather than the operator, has allowed me to do so, to focus on that. So I talked about our community events. So everyone kind of knows me in the local area for some of those community events, and that has fed the business accordingly. So becoming that expert in that respective automotive field has proved dividends in the business. So like, oh, he's the truck guy or he's the car guy. We do some giveaways and different things with local businesses and collaborate with other local businesses, even if they're not automotive, but to stake in the game of, hey, those are the experts in that field. And even if I don't have that right answer or right path for that solution, I'll work to get it for you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
awesome.
We're 2 days removed from Father's Day. So tell me, what did your kids do for you?
My kids did for me. So, we had a very low key day, which was great, especially between my Navy position and the business. Downtime and family time is super important. So we had a very low key day. We hung out at the house. We went back to the farm and hung out with some family at the farm. So just enjoying that time and presence. It was a beautiful weekend here in Jersey. So being able to get outside and swim and play, it was perfect.
That's awesome. What can you recall your favorite moment as being a father?
Ooh, favorite moment. There's so many. I don't want to say this is probably one moment, but a recurring moment. My trucks are loud. I have a couple of them. So the kids can hear me coming down the road and pulling in the driveway. So the moment I pull in the driveway and the door flies open, we have a storm door, and the kids are waiting for me to run in. Like, that moment in itself after a long day is the best moment of every day.
Very well said, man. Love that.
Well said.
But nothing like being a dad, right?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I have a son and a daughter, perfect blend of both. It's the best.
Yeah. I would say, like for me, not that you were asking, but just that thought was the moment of seeing my children being born is probably one of the greatest moments, as being a dad. Like, it's unbelievable because, you love your spouse or whatever, right? But then it's just that love that pours out to that child that you help bring into the world is absolutely amazing. And of course, many highlights along the way. But so happy Father's Day to you 2 days late.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's jump over to the Navy side. And let's talk about what your passion was as far as getting into the Navy and what really brought that about.
So I'm not really sure what drove me there, to be honest. I've always had a sense of, patriotism, things of that nature. But I was really at a career fair and liked what I heard, liked the influence. This was almost a decade ago. I've been very happy. I've traveled quite a bit. I've been as far as Japan, a lot of time on the West Coast, down the East Coast as well. So it allowed me to take that mechanical mindset and provide value directly to the Navy. Now I'm on the civilian side. I'm not active duty or anything of that nature. Just a civilian. But to be able to see the impact and how things that I was working on mattered and influenced directly to the fleet, it showed a lot.
Well, you have the Navy, style haircut. You're keeping it short. Little almost white wall action.
If you have that to work.
The reason I didn't join, I was trying to figure out how could I get in the Navy with long hair, but it's not possible.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for you.
Dude, they don't let you get past the gate.
Oh, they're like, you're 30 steps outside. Stay out there.
Keep that gun out.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's awesome. Tyler, you've had this business for a number of years now. Coming out of college, we're starting into entrepreneurship. What's something you've changed your mind about in the business world over the last 5 years that maybe you thought you had a misconception about that you wanted to change?
I think originally, and even up until recent years, I always thought, okay, if I just work harder, I'll make more money. If I just grind, more hours, it'll all work out. And that shift has changed a lot recently, and I'm thankful for it, especially with my kids. When I was first developing the business, after I kind of realized it was more than a side hustle, I was working 7 days a week. I'd go work with the Navy, and then I'd work in the shop until about midnight, and then start it all again at 4 or 5 a.m. the next day, 7 days a week. So it was 16, 18-hour days, grind, grind, grind. I'm thankful for those moments because it laid the foundation for what I have now, and I'll never replace that. But to work that method today, it would be simply impossible. I've sacrificed a lot in those years with my wife before we had kids, thankfully, and even early on when my son was first born. I sacrificed a lot of time to develop the business and grind and provide in that manner. But now to be able to be on this podcast with you guys and have the team working, or to do other events and look to the future instead of the right now has shifted quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you make that transition? Did you start to delegate tasks more? What did you do that actually got you out of that grind mentality?
So I came out of the grind mentality kicking and screaming, to say the least. It still comes back in waves, as certain things need to be done. To say I'm totally out of that, I'd be lying to you. But I had to. I was essentially killing myself, just to work, and I had no social life, no family life. I was on the verge of losing some of my family, and I didn't want that. The reason I built the business and was building the business was to provide this life and be able to step away and enjoy life a little bit. And really, I wasn't at that time. It was all work and no play. And now, not to say I'm playing all the time, but it's a lot more balance.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You know,
great.
for those that are out there that are thinking, maybe they work in a 9 to 5, working for another company and everything, what would you say as far as like somebody that's really, got that thought on the edge of their tongue and their mind of just like, I think I want to go on my own. I think I want to do something my own, and they're trying to balance that out in their thoughts. What kind of advice would you give them going from working in the Navy, being in that regimented life and then grinding 16, 18 hours into this business? What advice would you give to them right now for those that are just contemplating maybe making that initial step?
Hold on, it's a wild ride.
Yeah.
You will have ups and downs. There's no way around that. And I mean, we could geek out and say, 3 to 6 months of safety net expenses and things of that nature. But hold on, it is a wild ride. I wouldn't want to replace it for anything else, especially being in the position where I am now with my team and the crew. But it is very hard. It is from the ground level of moving into a business that I really learned the technical side as well as the marketing side and HR responsibilities, things of that nature, all on the fly. So one thing that I do recommend if anyone's getting into entrepreneurship or a business space that doesn't have that kind of experience, I've doubled down and probably progressed twice as fast with a business coach. Because I have an engineering background. I'm very methodical, risk assessment, but I don't have the business capability or at least knowledge, other than the school of hard knocks. So with a business coach, I've been able to, 2x or 10x that knowledge and path that much faster than what I once previously could.
Mm.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Tyler, when you have to have a certain mentality to be an entrepreneur, and you have to have a certain mindset. When things aren't working out the kind of way that you want them to work out, how do you keep that self-doubt away? How do you get that mindset mentality that you're not going to self-sabotage?
Your vision has to be stronger than the fear of failure. So where you're going, you have to believe it with all of your heart and what you're going to. So I just had this moment last week with the business. We had a couple big hiccups, some tooling and equipment, the whole 9 yards that way. And I sat to myself and, is this really worth it? Is this worth all the headache and risk and things of that nature? And, but then I have the vision of the next shop. We've only been in our shop for about 3 years. We're already planning our next shop and the next team addition and the next services to add and how we can better serve the community, what kind of impact we have with our few events that we do every year. Could we double that? So your vision has to be larger than your fear of failure.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I feel like there's always this sense of like something goes wrong, but then you could look at the future and see that sense of excitement, and you have to let that excitement supersede that sense of failure.
100%.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problems that I face today, I prayed for those problems. I mean, from working in my dad's driveway when I first got started to now having a shop and a team of guys and things of that nature. I'm very blessed to be where we are now and thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you worked on a Dan Sikowski car?
I have. Yes, actually I have. One of his trucks.
Okay. Did you ever screw up on it and hear the wrath of Dan come at you?
I have not. Thankfully, knock on wood, I have not.
He's got some crazy lifted stuff, right?
Yeah. Crazy lifted stuff. He has a fleet. I mean, he's an automotive enthusiast. He may not post about it and may not share it, but he is, and it's a very good relationship to have.
But does he have a pink truck? That's my.
Does he have a pink
I bet he doesn't.
Not that I'm aware of. He might be hiding one at his ranch, at his farm, in the back somewhere, but not that I'm aware of.
Big D slacking, bro.
Oh my gosh! I just took my granddaughter a couple weeks ago with my brother. We walked through a car show out in Modesto. It's a big one. It's where Graffiti Nights. I don't know if you ever saw like the movie from Modesto and stuff, but it was unbelievable, the amount of cars and trucks, and it was a hot day. So, my granddaughter lasted about 30 minutes and then, had to, give her snow cones and food and, get her in the shade and play games and try to, keep it fun and entertaining, but, there is just to see the creativity, right? With people's minds. Like it's beautiful to see. And when you can put it into a paint job, right, or chroming things out, like it's, the engines and the interior, it's a lot of fun. But being able to do that hands-on is awesome. So I applaud that you have that creativity. But teamwork, right, is not easy. I have a team in landscaping. Bringing the team together. I know what that's about. We're not necessarily on the job like you are. We're kind of spread out, all throughout the week. But what is it about teamwork that makes you the happiest, that makes it click, that when you can bring everybody collectively together and bringing, continuity to your team?
Team morale, team execution, managing people has been a very large learning curve for me. Tons of different personalities, things of that nature. One of the highlights for my team was just about 2 weeks ago. There's a big event called Atlantic City Truck Show. Over 5,000 vehicles come to this truck show, and we detail on site for some of the vendors. So to see my team rally through the chaos of that event, it just brings a smile to my face. I've done the event for 5 or 6 years now. And it's always a rush. So we show up Thursday around noon and we don't leave until Sunday evening or Sunday sometime during the day at the closure of the show. But nonetheless, my team basically put in 50 hours straight. Very little rest, very little sleep, to the point where it's 3 a.m. and we have the lights on and we're all still grinding. We got the music, we're dancing, we're singing. We're getting a little delirious, but the soap's still spraying and we're still putting on tire shine and all that stuff in the dark and just grinding. And those moments you can't help but smile. There's that thing I've seen on social media. It's type 2 fun. It's hard in the moment and really could be a struggle. But you're going to look back and talk about, remember when we did that crazy thing or that struggle, and then you sit back and chuckle about it. so that was just a pinnacle moment in the last month or so for me and my team.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Have you ever like looked around and said, "Where is my pen?"
I think I walk around the shop quite a bit and say, where is this? Where did that go? Everyone seems to have their own organizational strategy, I'll call it. But yeah, 100%.
You ever seen somebody like, where's my glasses? And they're like on top of their head.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to back up for a quick second. What does that truck show like entail? Like it's in Atlantic City, you just said?
It is. It's at Bader Field, the old airstrip in Atlantic City.
Okay.
It's been going on, I want to say five or 6 years, and we've detailed every year on site there, except for the first year where we were actually a vendor. Okay. But it's unlike any other experience. I can't describe it. There's a high horsepower. There's a dyno, there's a burnout competition. People travel as far as the West Coast and Texas and things of that nature for this show specifically. And I mean, there's anything from daily driven pickups to $500,000 to $1 million show trucks on display for spectators to look at and talk to, and vendors selling and different parts and lift kits and wheels and tires, things of that nature.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
That's a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, it's until you experience it, it's you can't really describe it. And like I said, we detail out front of the show, so we're on site. We're hired by the show to detail some of the vendor vehicles. So we did about 50 details in about 50 hours.
That's crazy.
Getting busy.
Getting busy.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome, man.
So when so you're balancing work, civilian, Navy, you've got the family, you've got the kids, wife, keeping everything balanced as best as you can. But what about Tyler himself? What is it that you do? How do you take care of yourself in staying busy? And how do you carve out time to make sure that your health and your wellness is top priority?
So I've gotten a lot better at this recently. But one, physical. With my Navy position, we have full access to the base gym and things of that nature. So my lunch break, I'll actually slip away for about 45 minutes to an hour, get a quick workout in. And then what I found is when I do that lunchtime workout, I come back at 1 o'clock or whatever it may be and sit down, and I'm actually refreshed. I'm not tired. I'm not getting that 2 o'clock slump where I need to pound another coffee. When that's not capable, typically I try to get up before, or if I'm not at the base that day, I'll wake up before the kids, hit a quick lift, things of that nature. That's what grounds me, and being able to work out, things of that nature. Carving out my own time for my own projects, like the pink truck you guys have mentioned. Being able to work on my own projects that's what feeds the fire and keeps that going for me. I mean, obviously tons of housework projects or working on things with the kids, but even allowing and getting my kids involved in those projects of recent has been huge. So the pink truck, it's pink. My daughter wanted a pink Barbie truck, so we painted it pink. So now she's kind of involved, and she thinks it's her truck, and do the same thing for my son. And but those moments and that personal project development, things of that nature, are kind of what keep me grounded.
Yeah,
that's good, man. We got to have that. We put it out there all the time. Work-life balance, right? Yeah. But health is most important, and that's what Dual Coast is all about. Is all about making sure that people in the grind are taking that time, carving out that time. If you got a 9 to 5, making sure that you get out from that desk and just take a 5-minute walk through the office or get outside. That would be the case. But really balancing our lives out and really making it a priority. And I know you and I had a discussion with regards to this, and you were saying at that time, like, this is something I'm really trying to build into what I'm doing. And it's a high priority. So my encouragement is, man, keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, and you can still work out and still have that afternoon coffee, because I love coffee.
I knew that was coming. It's true though, because even if you look at like a lot of these high level corporations and everything like that, they all have gyms on premise. Like they all encourage the fitness routine. They all encourage getting out there. Health coaches on staff, sometimes nutritionists on staff, because I think it creates better workforce, honestly. Like, and you say, you know, you go on your lunch break, you come back feeling refreshed. I mean, I totally agree with that. A lot of people who take a break, they go, they sit down, they have lunch, they come back and try to rework, and they're not doing so hot because they just pounded, you know, 1,000 calories, and now they're slumping. But if you get out, get some fresh air, feet on the ground, you know, get a little bit of exercise, and I feel like you get more refreshed, a little bit more energy.
100%. I've actually even initiated that similar mindset into the business as well. So I give the guys, all of our full-time guys, a gym stipend. So, hey, show me you're going to the gym, you're active, and we'll pay, you know, contribute to your membership. We do a physical job. We're out in the sun. We're, you know, doing wheels, tires, whatever it may be. I want you to be healthy. I want you to take that action. So we incorporate that into our employment package as well to try to take care of our guys.
That's cool, dude. I like that a lot.
It is.
A lot. Yeah. That's not something you hear too often. That's yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's been super foundational for me. So that was, you know, a non-negotiable just from the start when I was developing, you know, our hiring package and things of that nature for our first early employees. So it's been standard since. And I wouldn't, you know, not every employee takes us up on it, but it's available. And I really do believe in it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally agree, man. Totally.
That's
agree.
awesome.
That is awesome. I like that. What are you gonna say, Ross? I just cut you off.
Oh no, you didn't cut me off. No, right. I just what tell me a little bit about your relationship with Dan, Big D, and what kind of impact that he has made in your life and in your business and in your family, because I know that he has a great role in your life.
Yeah, so Big D, he'll claim that we only met a few years ago, but I actually met him many years ago at a truck show with one of his big lifted trucks. I was a no name. He didn't realize who I was, but I surely knew who he was at that time. Fast forward a few years, his two sons are developing two businesses, and we interact quite a bit in our business. But I came to this crossroads where I was really down in the business. And at that point, the vision wasn't larger than the failure. And I was really concerned. So I was entertaining the thought of selling the business for quite some time. And somehow Big D came into the threshold, and straight up, Dan told me, hey, I could take your business for pennies on the dollar, but here's what I think you should do. You know, at that time, I wasn't a coaching client of his. It was just brutal, honest. This is, you know, where I think I can help you. And it was totally free. And he really could have taken my business and turned it into something 10x of what it was at that time for pennies on the dollar. And he didn't. So for that, I'm very grateful. But at that time, he kind of took me under his wing informally. I attended one of his free events, and it was, you know, okay, this is really what I need. He really knows what he's talking about. And then I've been a coaching client of his for about a year or so now.
And looking back over that this last year, what would you say is your growth? Like, what is your growth, man?
So it's taken the chaos and given me a lot of control. So we've developed things like systems, clear training program for new hires, which has allowed us to scale and add in some of the team members that we currently have, and focused on the numbers and closing a lot of the leaks in the boat that we had. So I was just kept, you know, trying to pour more in, but I had a hole in the bucket. So now closing up those holes, we might have a small leak here and there, but we're working to plug those before dumping more fuel onto the fire.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Tyler, what would you or Big D say is the most underrated business skill?
Oof. I can't speak for Big D, but I will say delegation, because I struggle with this. I have a really good general manager now, but even when I'm in the shop, I notice that I step on his toes and his responsibilities and try to take action. You know, And part of that is early on, and he was new to that role, so I still had to guide him and step in every now and then. But now he's fully trained and he knows his responsibilities, and so my presence in the shop actually sometimes can be detrimental to his responsibility. So being able to delegate and have faith that he's going to execute on his role, as well as our technicians as well. It's that delegation piece is a huge skill that I'm still learning.
Yeah, that seems to be a very common answer amongst the entrepreneurs that come on Dual Coast. Is delegation seems to be a very underrated skill, or a skill that needs to be learned as you kind of excel through business. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Skoka, have you ever used the word concur when you're in the medical field?
Yeah, but we say it jokingly because it's in the movie Ask Me If You Can. So we always go, do you concur? More of a joke thing. But yes, almost on a daily basis.
Concur. I love that. It's so funny. There's a lot of fathers that are out there listening today, Tyler, to this talk, and that have children or families, and what little bit of advice would you encourage fathers that are out there that are listening and that are entrepreneurs, very busy in their lifestyle, the importance of family?
Know why you're making the sacrifice, and don't overstep that sacrifice. So in the sense that when my son was very young, I was scaling the business and working to grow the business. Like I mentioned, I was still working 7 days a week. So I missed a lot of the early on moments. And it put a lot of additional responsibility on my wife, who was also still working full time. So reflecting back on that, that's one piece that I do miss a lot, and I can never get it back. But prioritizing the family time now is super important. So even if it's a 30-minute block where you're going to go play outside and catch the ball or go to the park, prioritize that time, because just like the gym after lunch, we kind of mentioned, that's going to bring you back refreshed and give you more purpose to keep grinding and keep going. For a lot of time, even if I had to go back to the shop after bedtime, I'd call it PBT, post bedtime. I would never miss bedtime. So I'd always come home from the shop, eat dinner, put the kids to bed. And then if I had to go back, I'd go back late in the hours. But the hours from like roughly 5 to 7, those were sacred hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Awesome.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, so you've built this company from the ground up, pretty much. It has your name attached to it. You, through the Navy, through college and everything, you started to scale this business up. What legacy do you want to leave with your name on it by forming this business?
One of the things that I always grew up with the family farm, it was, oh, I know your father, I know your grandfather, he's a good man, or they do great work, or so having the Gravatt Farms legacy tied into me, that's kind of what I want to leave for my kids too. Whether it's they see someone at the mall or the shopping plaza with a Gravatt Garage t-shirt or a hat, and oh yeah, your dad did great work, or the company did great work on my vehicle, thank you, and things of that nature. That sense that I grew up with, I think is something similar. Just not so much even the vehicles, but hey, your dad really took care of me, or the guys at the shop really took good care of me, and they helped me in a pinch, or things of that nature. That piece, I think, is part of the legacy. And we do our own truck shows and community events too. We kind of touched on the nonprofit. We do the Cruise Against Suicide with Lifted for Life. So we'll be in attendance for that and things of that nature. And we've donated quite a bit to either cancer fundraisers and things of that nature. So that impact goes a lot further than just trucks and shiny cars and shiny wheels.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I always love the legacy question.
It's a good one. That is a good one.
It's a great question. Yeah, it's in this world today, men struggle all the time, with various things in their life and overcoming. And what would you say, for you personally, what was the biggest challenge for you to overcome in your own personal life?
The biggest challenge in my own personal life was Whew. Biggest challenge. I'd say the balance piece, because I really did struggle with that for a lot, and then once I found, and KCI really kicked off some of the Lifted for Life effort. I could feel there was a moment I could feel my family life slipping away, literally through my fingers, like sand falling through my fingers. And it was just one more car, one more wheel polish, and things of that nature. And there was a moment right after my son was born. We had a couple financial pieces with the house, and then my son needed open heart surgery, things of that nature. So that's when I really doubled down to financially provide for the family, but I didn't provide as a father. I wasn't the solid rock. I wasn't that foundation. I wasn't supporting my wife. Even though I was financially providing, I was missing out on all the other pieces. So that coming to that understanding was a huge hit to the ego, to the, my professional development, things of that nature. So that was a huge turning point in my life.
Wow. That's powerful. Yeah. Tyler, we have a question, or a quote, I should say, that we kind of close every single Dual Coast episode out with. And I know you've watched a couple episodes, and it doesn't have to be related to fitness. It can be related to pretty much anything. And that quote is, wellness is not about perfection. It's about progress. What would you say that quote means to you?
I would say that as long as you're willing to continue to improve, you're on the right path. Russ and I talked a couple weeks ago. I was in one of the lulls with my workouts and not staying consistent in, being physical. And that was basically draining me through the business. I wasn't doing my reading, things of that nature. The things I try to do, the daily habits. And I made a plan, made a path. It's not perfect, but I'm better than I was yesterday. And I think that kind of goes forward on everything, whether it's, like you said, working out or your mental health. There's tons of support out there if you're making a level of effort to get the support you need, or supporting someone else and you see someone else in need. Hey, just reaching out, giving you a quick phone call, checking in, wellness check, whatever it may be. Better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tyler, it's been a pleasure today, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for coming on, man. Just talking about life, talking about family, talking about business, talking about Navy. I mean, just, a lot of things, in your life that have been impactful. And I really, really appreciate, not only just talking to you on the phone, but, seeing you live here, and talking about it, and what wellness is to you, what business is to you, what family is to you, what being an entrepreneur is to you. So I appreciate you sharing all the advice that you've given to others and the things that you've learned and the challenges you've overcome.
No, thank you very much for having me on, guys. I've, like Dan mentioned, I've listened to a bunch of the audio platform pieces. And I appreciate you guys having me on as a guest.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Tyler, where can people find you in Gravatt Garage?
So I'm on all social media platforms as Tyler Gravatt, and the business page is at Gravatt Garage on all social media platforms.
Awesome, man.
And if you're in New Jersey, look for the pink truck.
The pink truck.
Easy way to cite.
That is very true.
This has been a great episode. We talked about everything soup to nuts today, from mental health, physical health, cars. This has been great, really powerful. A lot of people listened. I'm really happy about that. I hope everybody got a lot out of this conversation today. Please check out Tyler on all his social media handles. Check out Gravatt Garage. Check us out at Dual Coast Podcast on all social media handles as well as the Dual Coast store, like I mentioned before, at the Dual Coast website. I'll put that in the comments for everybody to check out. New time coming up in the next 2 weeks, 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. That's 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the new Dual Coast timeline. We will see everybody next week with a very special guest as well, Tyler Gravatt. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We really appreciate you listening. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You as well.